Ladies and gentlemen, 159th day of the Russian invasion and the 9th year of war of the Russian Federation against Ukraine. I'm Andrew Shevchenko. On behalf of Media Center Ukrinform, I welcome all of the journalists who tell the world about our fight for freedom. Today we're going to be talking about the newly established information platform, which is called Children of War, which is to help the parents and law enforcement agencies to gather information about children affected by war, for instance, the missing children or the children unlawfully deported to Russia. A group of guests was invited, but first I give the floor to Daria Gerasimchuk, Commissioner of the President of Ukraine for Rights of Children and Children Rehabilitation, and the coordinator of the newly established Children of War information platform. Ms. Natalia, tell us more about this initiative. Good afternoon. Speaking about peaceful times, for every dad or mom, even a thought that a child could go missing causes at least Arabian Nights of horrors, let alone if it happens during war. All the shellings and bombings and all the atrocities perpetrated by the Russian army in Ukraine in respect of children as well, often enough freezes all the thoughts of the parents, relatives, near and dear about what would need to be done next if such situation did happen. That's why it's extremely important to make the correct first steps. Depending on them, it would allow to to find the child and bring it back home fast. In order for those first steps to be made accurately and fast, we have established this information portal, the information platform Children of War. We are presenting this platform today, but it's being in the test mode for at least a week already. Anyone who visits this portal today will see an atrocious timer that is being updated daily. Why atrocious? Because that's where daily we're going to update the statistics about the number of killed and wounded children that are missing at large, were forcibly deported. Unfortunately, on a daily basis, those figures go up, and it's scary. Indeed. Also, at the website, you would be able to see the figures about the number of kids that were found and brought back to their families, and the number of kids that we managed to bring back from the forced deportation and relocation. It's in order to make such happy stories of bringing back kids back to their families and reuniting with their families. That's exactly why the president gave the personal assignment to create this information platform, which would allow the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the National Police of Ukraine, the General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine, the National Information Bureau, to be able to gather all the needed data as fast as possible to carry out search and rescue operations to bring those kids back home. Also, in order to ensure the functioning of this uniform information platform, a consultation center has been established under the Ombudsman's on Human Rights Office, where everyone can get offline and online consultations and clarify the issues of interest to them. So today I appeal to everyone who can hear us, who has any information about the location of kids, either at the territory of Ukraine or whether they know about the facts of deportation or movement of kids into the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine or of the Russian Federation. All those who lost their children, those who found their children, please inform about those facts and share this information through this uniform information platform, Children of War, and this information will immediately get to the relevant authorities. Probably your decisive steps like that will help to bring back children home to Ukraine and let them reunite with their families. Today I have other colleagues of mine here today who will tell about each chapter of this information platform. Hopefully it will generate needed results, namely helping our ability to gather and process the data. So who would administer the portal? The administrator of the portal will be the Ministry of Reintegration of Temporarily Occupied Territories and the National Information Bureau, which actually created this portal in coordination with other agencies. My colleagues will tell you some more about this. Thank you. And the floor goes to Oleksandr Smirnov, the director of the state-owned enterprise Ukrainian National Center for Peace Building, that exercises the functions of the National Information Bureau and will work with the databases bases gathered at this platform. Will you have any practical hints, recommendations or life hacks for potential users of the platform? The function of the Information National Bureau has been carried out under the Ministry of Reintegration from March of this year as the direct consequence of the full-fledged invasion, and it covers all the different categories, including deported people, forcefully relocated, especially kids. Why especially? Because that's the category that is the most vulnerable and that could not protect itself. That's why from the very beginning the government institutions have established this joint effort that would allow us to quickly identify and bring back the kids. But we also recognize that that will not be enough. Only that would not be enough. That's why we're also trying to unite the efforts of the government institutions of Ukraine and the general public, hopefully generating even a bigger result. It's quite handy when you don't have to find information in many places. Just one-stop arrangement is what people wanted. Also, it's convenient for people to share the facts about the improper treatment of kids. Thank you. Now the floor goes to Kateryna Pavlichenko, Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs of Ukraine, Captain of Police. Ms. Kateryna, how acute is the problem with the lost children now under the conditions of the full-fledged war? Good afternoon, everyone. It's true. This issue today is very acute and relevant. That's why the platform that we are launching today, and this United Information Platform Children of War, is supposed to become a resource that will help the law enforcement agencies, the police, and the parents by accumulating all the needed information, whom you need to call, what you need to do in the situation when your child went missing and you have no ability to get in touch with the child's. Any statistics to share? Yes. As of August the 1st, the National Police of Ukraine has received the reports about 4,200 lost children, total number of applications filed with the National Police, and 4,139 kids were found already, which is more than 95%. But still, we are actively searching for 203 kids. Most of those kids, as we understand it, they disappeared near the war zones, combat zones, but we keep searching for those kids, of course. Also, it's worth mentioning that under martial law, the National Police works the same way it used to. In terms of following the procedure of missing kids, especially when we don't have any information about their whereabouts. So the information that we receive at the police 102 hotline, we send it to the territorial police stations, and National Police and Juvenile Prevention now will start working with this website, Children of War, analyze and double-check the information that will be posted at this website. So, if you are in the possession of any information about a missing child, you need to share this information as fast as possible to the National Police or through the website that we present today, because it's within the first couple of hours is that where we need to start using exhaustive measures to start searching for the missing child. So one more thing I would like to mention to you. This information portal we're discussing today also contains a great number, a block of information basically, that's of a general nature, that also might come handy to parents in the case of searching for the needed information. This website will be generalizing this information from different authorities, coming from different authorities. Ihor Mustetsa, Deputy Prosecutor General of Ukraine, which crimes against children you are dealing mostly over the course of the last couple of months? Good afternoon, everyone. Would like to thank for the presentation of this portal, and I wish positive and concrete results from the work of this portal and the total or the whole law enforcement system, including the Prosecutor General's office. I would like to share some interesting data with you. As of August the 1st, at least 1,051 children suffered in this war of Russia against Ukraine. If we break this figure down into what we know for sure and what we receive from the regions, by combining efforts of all our law enforcement agencies, volunteers, we have 693 wounded and 358 unfortunately killed, mostly in Donetsk region, Kharkiv region and Kyiv region. But it's worth taking into consideration that these data are approximate, unfortunately, and they might still increase, because for the time being we have no full data, which we would have only after full the occupation of the currently occupied territories. That's where we will learn the full truth about what's happening now, unfortunately, and we'll learn about those kids who are suffering now close to combat zones. We keep accurate reporting and accounting, we breaking down into regions and districts. Let me share an example. Donetsk region, total figure 363 kids, 154 dead, 209 wounded. Kharkiv region, 195, 50 dead, 145 wounded. So I will not stop on each of the regions because the statistics are available, and the portal will cover it extensively. One more thing to consider here is that when the 1261 resolution back in 1999 were passed in the Security Council of the UN, it covers the protection of kids under the military conflicts, identifying 6 serious crimes against children during military conflicts. Unfortunately, all those crimes have been perpetrated. So let me illustrate it with examples. Recruiting of kids, we have identified such 7 facts. Killing and maiming kids, raping and other forms of violence against children. Officially, we have 5 victims. Attacks on schools, hospitals and patients. More than 2,000 children institutions 2,199 schools, of which 255 completely destroyed, 355 child hospitals, 154 foster houses, as well as rehabilitation centers. One of the crimes under this UN resolution is kidnapping and forcefully relocating children. This is a very painful issue for us indeed. More than 5,000 kids whom we are checking, but again, as part of the criminal cases. So we have launched the process of pre-trial investigation, but we might end up knowing about more kids. If we look at the generally available data, in publicly available, we will see the figure of around 450,000 kids, close to 500,000, a big figure. And the last crime is refusal for to grant access to humanitarian help, also death or amputations because of absence of medical help. You asked about the number of crimes. Well, let me tell you that if we count from February the 24th until today, we started 1,451 criminal cases. That's the total number of criminal cases that were instigated by different pretrial investigation institutions. Of them, 458 were registered by introducing data into the uniform registry by our prosecutors, local ones. We have also a platform where juvenile prosecutors, along with the law enforcement officers, work together by focusing their efforts at detecting such facts, their registration, and then proper investigation in order to put logical full stop in a case. 668 cases on death, wounds and rapes, 671 attacks on child institutions, the rest on forcefully relocated. I would like to urge everyone who can hear and is interested in what we're discussing, people who became victims or eyewitnesses of war crimes, do not be afraid of sharing this information with the law enforcement agencies. Use for this the uniform platform War Crimes, which is available, which has been established by the Office of the Prosecutor General to document war crimes. Ms. Aksana Filipishyna is a representative of the Human Rights Ombudsperson of Ukraine. Can you tell us what can the Ukrainian Parliament Commissioner for Human Rights Office offer in this regard? Good morning, everyone. The Ukrainian Parliament Commissioner's Office for Human Rights is not standing aside, of course, and all our actions are aimed at providing assistance to our all our citizens, children in particular. As part of this platform, we have offered our help in opening the consultation center under the Ombudsman's Office. The information analytical support of this consultation center and of the whole information portal Children is being carried out with the help of international organization Search, funded by Canadian government. As part of this consultation center, we stipulate to provide consultations to our children, citizens who address the law enforcement agencies with requests for help, or address our information bureau with requests to help search for a child, filed information or shared information about children who are currently at the uncontrolled territories or the third country territories of third countries. This consultation center could help people to fill in the forms that have been designed by the government to file such applications. We believe we will broaden our consultations. We will not only limit us with helping within this Children of War portal, but also will provide consultations and explanations to people. What should they do if they find themselves at the occupied territories? What do they need to know and what do they need to do if a child is born and they need to arrange the birth certificate, how to legalize it, how to get citizenship, because these are the issues that people keep asking. Also, we currently face situations where the kids were relocated to the EU countries and one of the parents is searching for a child. Other types of applications, for instance, for getting assistance for refugees or IDP. So a broad range of issues that we will be consulting people on. Our goal is for the consultation center to become the reliable access point for any citizen who wants to find the ways to help the kids who became victims of this war. I would ask our guests to join Natal at the podium. Your questions, please. Daria Gerasimchuk, Ukrinform. My first question is, how many kids that left Ukraine from February the 24th are still abroad, and how many of those who left returned back to Ukraine? Probably that's a question to Ms. Daria, but if any of you would like to add to this, please do. Well, since today we're talking about the children of war, we talk about deported and relocated children. That's how I want to respond to your question. So, if you look at the screen with the website Children of War, you'll see 5,754 people that we are aware of that they were deported. Because why we're aware, their relatives filed the applications sharing the fact of their forced deportation and relocation. We have the list that we are double checking and sharing with this information with international organizations. So here the figure is confirmed, but also there is a figure from open sources, at least 450,000 children that the Russian authorities claim that they were evacuated, but everybody clearly understand that this is not evacuation, but forceful relocation and deportation. Why wouldn't we use this Russian figure? Because it's not supported with any figures. So we confirm that we've seen this figure, we analyze it, but we still base our analysis on the trustworthy information. As to the kids that are currently abroad, well, 2+ million that were relocated abroad. Is it your assessment or international organizations' assessment? Well, joint assessment, let's put it this way. Question to Ms. Filipishyna. How many such applications have you received? From February the 24th, we received requests to help find 1,923 kids. We learned about this number, 1923 kids, from 1,800 applications that we received, because some applications covered siblings, a couple of kids at the same time. So also from other sources, we have identified and personified information about 83 kids that are currently at the territory of either occupied, temporarily occupied, or have been already deported to the Russian Federation. In all the cases, when we search for them, we have sent the request to help with search to the Prosecutor General Office and to the National Police, and of course, obviously, to this National Information Bureau. Would you have anything to add here? Well, let's move on then. Nikita Alka, Suspilne TV. My question is about deported kids. What sort of communication do you have, and with which authorities, to bring those kids back home, and which, how many kids you have identified their location for sure already? we will be taking floor to cover our respective segments. So it's an individual effort to bring each kid back home. It involves lots of stakeholders. Each one of them is responsible for their respective components. We try not to reveal any details and not to disclose no details, but each case is individual. So there would be no template responses to a question. But in order to bring back each of those 47 kids that have been returned, so we involved at least 5 or 6 agencies for each case like that. What do we do next with those lists that Ms. Aksana mentioned that are being collated? Then we share those lists with international organizations, those who have the mandate to launch search and rescue. Well, first search at the temporarily occupied territories or the territory of the Russian Federation, and will monitor the status of their stay there, so that they would be found there. They would tell us where our kids are located, because Ukraine doesn't have access neither to temporarily occupied territories nor to the territories of the Russian Federation just yet. So that's how we work. That's exactly why we ask people, if only you are aware where the child is located, please use the Children of War portal and share this information with us, because then it's going to be so much easier to bring that child back home. So 47 successful cases when we brought kids back from after they've been relocated or deported. How many kids that are considered to be deported when you identify their current location either in Russia or in the occupied territories? Well, speaking about the identification, this information is not available because as soon as we receive those lists, we share with the international organization, and that's after their feedback we'll know more. Well, the next question about this website, this platform. So what would happen next after a parent or a relative files an application? Will this application would be double-checked somehow, and which authorities would be involved? Law enforcement, right? Juvenile system. Every month we will have analytics attached. Aksana has today mentioned about search company, the Canadian government reform team. So monthly you will have the analytics from them as to what's happening on the portal. And now Kateryna, more about the paper flow. Yeah, thank you. Let me add to the previous question on searching for children. The National Police has various units, among which one is the Department of Migration Police. Its job is to counter the cases of trafficking in children. They cooperate with Europol, Interpol, are involved in some of the special operations, are sharing with the law enforcement agencies of other countries with information about, among other things, how to locate some persons, including our kids. Responding to a question about how in the future we will be processing this information that is shared through the Children of War information portal. Well, you need to understand that this portal for law enforcement officers would become yet another important tool that they would be using to search for kids and collect the information about the missing children in one place. So all of the applications filed to the law enforcement agencies would be registered, would be double-checked, transferred to competent authorities, territorial police stations, to conduct search and procedural actions. We will open criminal cases and carry out needed investigative and operational measures to properly identify and locate a child. Would you have any questions about the work of the website? Let me add to this. In order to search a child, a missing child, there are different templates from different agencies. So what we did, we identified a person responsible in each agency and ministry so that they will be communicating with one another. Well, the ministries and agencies are staying in constant communication. It is already efficient and viable, but what's important is that we want to be user-friendly in dealing with our customers. So just treat this portal as a way to make life easier for all those who share the information about missing children. So this portal will contain some template forms. So there are forms that clearly identify which government agencies then this person will have to monitor what's happening with this information on bringing back the children. It's easier with the adults, deported and forcefully relocated, but with kids, each case is unique. Even bringing those 47 cases that we already brought back, well, we've went through so many ways of making it happen, involving so many people. Children 45 and 46, these were sisters, and it took us 3 weeks to bring them back home. So each case is quite unique indeed. The location, especially the territory of Russia, well, it might be a viable location for today, which might be changed tomorrow. So it's not about the location today, it's the ability to identify a child and start figuring out the options how to bring a child back home. Question, last, Aksana Filipishyna, 5th channel. Which region of Ukraine filed the largest number of applications about the missing kids, either to the office of the president or to the office of Prosecutor General? Well, nobody files those applications to the office of the president. The portal has been launched today, so the analytics as to how many applications have been filed from which regions, well, give us 1 month and we'll have this information for you. As to the kids that are currently being searched for, and Ms. Natalia Pavlichenko already mentioned that these are kids that mostly went missing near the combat zone, so we clearly know where exactly they are in Ukraine. One follow-up to your question is this. Through this portal, Children of War, we also urge everyone to inform us, and the Prosecutor General Office needs this information, about forceful change of citizenship, handing out non-Ukrainian ID documents, facts of unlawful acts against Ukrainian kids, which would be yet another set of evidence of the Russians' genocide against the Ukrainian people. Wounding, killing kids, giving them from one national group to another, changing their citizenship, and giving them foster parents. At this website, any crimes against children, that would be one place to share all this information through. Ms. Kateryna? Speaking about the applications that the National Police received in terms of missing kids, the biggest number of them during this war came from Donetsk, Kharkiv, and Kherson regions. My last question, and let's fly above the situation. International journalists who come to this web center say that there is a disproportionately large number of civilian civilians that suffered, but especially children. How come that in this war children became a special category of vulnerable victims? Why is it happening? Well, I don't want to repeat the figures, which I already shared with you, but it's not about the figures, of course. It's about recognizing that our country needs to join our efforts to identify and verify all the data. This web portal will help to systematize the available data so this uniform platform would allow us to analyze the information both at the stage of pre-trial investigation and, what's important, at the stage of registration itself. Well, then, that's that. Kateryna Pavlichenko, Daria Gerasimchuk, Ihor Mustetsa, Aksana Filipishyna, Oleksandr Smirnov, about the newly established information platform, Children of War, and how the Ukrainian government and the Ukrainian society tries to take care of kids who became the victims of the full-fledged invasion of Russia into Ukraine. Thank you for this initiative, for this presentation. This ends the program of Press Conference and Media Center Ukrinform for today. Please follow our announcements. Stand with Ukraine.